Are you ready to take your small business know-how and mindset to the next level? Then check out my new Crank and Boom Substack, The Scoop. On this platform, not only do I write about topics we're covering here on the Crank and Boom podcast, but I do a deeper dive into them along with some personal anecdotes that take you behind the scenes of what it takes to build your dream business. Plus, there'll be some other content that I love, like travel, foodie things, and other fun stuff that you won't get anywhere else. Subscribe today at crankandboom.com, and I'll see you over on Substack. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Crank and Boom podcast. I am your host, Toa Green. I opened a Thai restaurant with my family 17 years ago that has since morphed into a multi-million-dollar ice cream business. I have the honor of leading 40-plus teammates to fulfill our company's mission, create joy, ignite laughter, and inspire compassion. And now I get to share my experiences of building this incredible business with you. On the show, we chat all things small business, family, and life, and how we can do it all with a bit more purpose and in community. I am so glad that you're here. This is the Crank and Boom podcast. When we're in the biggest moments of building our business, we get caught up in the doing and forget the profound impact that checking in with ourselves and or a higher power can fuel our spirits and create a sense of calm in an otherwise hectic season. I know that connecting to something that feels bigger than myself helps me feel less alone and gives me much needed perspective when making big decisions for my business and for my life. Today, I'd like to take a moment to talk about how I think my faith has impacted my ability to grow as an entrepreneur. A few times on this podcast, I've mentioned the Buddhist in me. I've never really dug in deeper about what that really means or really talked much about faith here, but it's such an important part of who I am that I really want to dive into it today. I don't live by a traditional or formal faith system, but I have constructed a belief system for myself that has stemmed from many different sources, and it guides me through this crazy journey of life of mine. So let's get into it. My definition of faith and spirituality is believing in something that you can't see. I very deeply believe in karma. I feel like what you put out into the world will return to you in some way and will manifest in some way. I will do my best to try and put out good things into the world. I think of karma like a bank. I want to fill my karma bank up with as many things as possible so that when I need them, it is there for me and it is there to benefit me in some way, hopefully. My faith can be confusing to a lot of people because the things I do, the organizations I'm involved with, the people I interact with are all over the place. Here in Kentucky, we have a very strong religious community in a lot of different faiths. I have taken all these different sources and all these faiths and kind of mishmash them together into a way that I live and believe and have faith and practice religion. If anything, I still identify as a Buddhist. I grew up as a Buddhist. I actually went to a Buddhist school for a summer, so I was able to spend a lot of time in the temple and learn to read and write Thai very well. We would wake up at 6 o'clock and we would meditate for an hour. So I also figured out how to sleep while meditating. That was a special skill that I learned at Buddhist school. There's all these different things that I have interacted with and have been a part of my life that have built this construct. What I think is important that I want to convey is that you don't have to follow a strict or formal system. If this is something that resonates with you, we're going to talk more about it and how that kind of manifests into my business life as well. If you've been here for a while, you know that I incorporate community in everything I do. It fuels every decision I make about my life and my company. Our beloved sponsors, Holly Hill & Co., also share the same love for community. In fact, their love of community is why they work so hard to highlight local produce in all 9 of their Central Kentucky restaurants, like Zim's in downtown Lexington, Honeywood at the Summit, and the historic Holly Hill Inn in Midway. so you can experience what it means to connect the farmer and the food to your family's table. And now they've expanded their offerings to the community by opening a new cooking studio and retail store. You can take cooking classes with the very famous James Beard-nominated Chef Weta Michael herself and learn about how to make the most out of your farmer's market haul or how to craft the perfect bourbon menu. And while you're there, shop the handcrafted goods and thoughtfully curated gift sets for your friends and family. Learn more about their new cooking studio and retail store in downtown Versailles, Kentucky by visiting hollyhillandco.com. Again, that's hollyhillandco.com, and let them know Tal from the Crank and Boom podcast sent you. The holiday season is here, and it's the perfect time to celebrate amazing food with your friends and family. I've learned when running a business that it's so important to take time out to share special moments with your loved ones, and I can't stress this enough. So when you're making plans to create magical moments for the holidays, remember that Goldbelly can make your holiday unforgettable. Whether it's Ina Garten's carrot cake for a special holiday dinner or Crank and Boom's Flavors of Kentucky ice cream collection for your special holiday gifts, Goldbelly can deliver it right to your door. Don't miss out on Goldbelly's incredible offerings this holiday season. Head to goldbelly.com and make your celebrations and gift giving this season even sweeter. Life is so confusing, right? How are we supposed to know what to do? I went to college thinking I was going to go pre-med and be a doctor. Being a doctor didn't feel right, but I was forcing it because I thought that's what I needed to do. Maybe your path should feel easier. If your path feels really hard, maybe something needs to knock you off that path so that you can find the path that you're supposed to be on. Oprah would always say, you're going to keep hearing a whisper and it'll get louder and louder and louder until it smacks you in the face, or something really tragic happens in your life as a wake-up call to get you to go towards whatever your destiny is. There were too many things that happened that knocked me off that path, enabled me to get where I am now, which I am in a much better place. I feel like I'm doing what I was meant to do. I have heard from other people who are thinking of starting a business or thinking of taking a next step in their business and saying, I just can't stop thinking about doing this thing. And I always tell them, if you can't stop thinking about doing this thing, it's not going to go away until you do the thing. You got to make peace with figuring out how you're going to do the thing, or you're going to live the rest of your life with regret. I feel like you have free choice, and maybe different things happen in your life to guide you towards whatever that destiny is. If I know that in this moment, with the information that I have, I made the very best decision that I could, then I'm at peace with that. But then, if I'm 10 steps down the road and I think back and I think that was such a crappy decision, it's because I have different information, I have more experience, and more time has passed. I always give myself grace. For the most part, I always feel like I make decisions in a place of the best I can with the information that I have. And that has brought me incredible peace, because as a business owner, you're making decisions all the time, trying to figure stuff out when there's zero guidebook is just hard. It's really hard. For me, knowing that even if I don't make the right decision down the road, I know that I did it in good faith. And so I will forgive my 10 steps back self for the decision that she made because she didn't know. Those kind of mindsets and mantras are things that help me as we run the business. And for me, if the business collapses because I made a decision that I felt like was right in my heart, like, I'm okay with that. I am at peace with that. Because again, I don't tie the business with my own self-worth. I try my best to do good things for my family and for the world. And if I can make decisions based off of that, I can't lose. Sometimes making the decision is about what's in your gut and what you feel and what you put your faith in. And that, I think, has probably been one of the most helpful ways that we have been able to grow our business and build it to what it is today. Tactically, what are some things that you might do that help you with making space for yourself to be able to breathe and be able to stop in the doing of your life and think more beyond the doing. Number 1, find something that grounds you. And maybe that is meditation, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's a gratitude journal, maybe it's just going for a walk. But ultimately, make space for yourself. Make sure that while you're in the massive chaos of doing, that you actually make space where you can pop your head up and actually reflect on where you're going, why you're doing it, and if it's something that serves you in your life. Number 2, find what works for you. This means you don't have to fall into a traditional construct of faith or religion or anything that anyone else says you should be. Life is this ever-moving thing, and so we're always adjusting and trying to just figure it all out, and there's no perfect way to do it. Number 3, I would say have all the gratitude in the world. It makes everything else seem really small and ultimately will relieve you of a lot of self-imposed stress. I want to thank you for being here and for coming along this little journey on this episode, because it's a little different than the other things that we usually talk about on this show. I hope that some of it has resonated with you and will help you along whatever journey that you are on. Thank you so much for listening to the Crank and Boom podcast. If you want business advice and tactics like this every week, click that follow button wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode with us. Also, if you like what you heard today, it would mean so very much to me if you would leave us a review that helps other people find us. Leave a note on what topics you want me to cover more of, because we would love to hear from you. I can't wait to meet you here again very soon. Until next time, peace.
This is a production of Four Eyes Media.